Alrighty, everybody. Today we don't have a completed project, but we do kind of have a progress update of a project, prototype project here. So, what is this thing? What is this thing with the black circle and a USB-C cable coming out of it? Well, this is a charger for a smartwatch. My Galaxy Watch 6, I think it is. It just attaches to the charger like so with a magnet, and this is some kind of a holder that I've been working on this week. So this thing's printed actually in 3 pieces. You have this top plate, a bottom plate, and then a middle plate, and that's because in here, I don't know if you can hear that, there is something rattling around in here. And that is this plate here, or one of these kind of plates here. This is a Simpson strong tie. This is just a thing that you use to, I think, for when you're assembling like 2 beams together. This is what you put on the ends. It's like they're basically just like a big washer. You know, they're not super heavy. They're not the heaviest thing in the world, but they are definitely not light. As you can see on here, I have a number here. That is 6.28 ounces. I know my handwriting looks like garbage, but that's how much this particular one weighs, which is kind of how much they usually weigh. I think this is actually the lighter one, and I was using this for all the prototypes. So even the lightest one we have here still worked with all the prototypes. So that's what we got here. So that's what's in here, and I'll open it up to show you kind of what's inside here. This, by the way, is not what the project is going to look like at all, because you can see it's pretty large, especially for the small object that it's supposed to be charging. There's a different part of it, a part that's going to be made to hold like a phone, for instance, like this phone here. This is my, I don't even know what this is. I think this is like a S24 Ultra. It's the one with the pen that still has the Bluetooth. It's whatever that one is. The last gen one they had. But yeah, we're just going to open it up. It's held together with 4 632 screws. So that's the size here. These are, I think, 2 inches. No, they're less than 2 inches. These things I think are a little bit shorter. These screws I will be cutting later, but because they are kind of long. Oh yeah, you can kind of see what happened here. I overshot it with the tap. Went a little too far, so we had a little bit of damage in that corner there. But we were able to drill and tap this just fine, and the screws go in perfectly. But yeah, we got these 4 screws here to hold it all together. Really nice and rigid. There we go. I will explain the modification here later. But as you can see, we have our plate here. This one is 6.3 ounces. Here's our sub plate. This is the plate that kind of is in between the steel plate and the actual charger. And then, of course, here we have our top plate. But yeah, here's the charger, and here's kind of the issue. So as you can see, it does sit flat. This cable, by the way, because of how it was coiled in the box, kind of has a knack of like lifting and moving around. But you have the watch on it, you know, charges just fine. But when you want to take it off, as you can see, it's stuck to it, so you have to manually hold and pull it off. And this magnet is it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong magnet. And I was when I was choosing what to use with these plates here, I was attaching these kind of prototypes here to little boxes, and I was filling them with screws and nuts and bolts. And well, it turned out it took about, probably, the scale may be completely off here, but it took quite a lot of weight, around 6 to 7 ounces to remove it. But yeah, I did those, found the weights. I was always thinking about using these for weights, but the fact that one was enough for this thing to let go was a good thing. But yeah, let's talk about the design of this thing and maybe some of the weird things here. I just wanted something simple, something flat, something that could hold the charger itself and the metal plate here. It came with a simple little frame for the plate here, and there's supposed to be a little post in the middle, but this one was printed too big. Here's the original prototype of this. As you can see, it's quite a bit larger. It's quite a bit larger, but the post was the correct diameter. And as you can see, it kind of fits there. It doesn't sit super well. It does have a little bit of play here and there, but it works just fine. Here we have our other one, our other tie here. I think about six of these. So all of them are different, have slightly different weights and slightly different sizes, and I kind of just averaged them all out to fit in this here. But I made this one, I made the post bigger because I wanted to remove some of that play. It was actually too big. It was fine for one of the sides. On the other side, the hole diameter is actually slightly smaller. So I found that out. And, well, I ripped it out with a pair of pliers, and that's why it looks like this. It still holds it pretty well. Doesn't really move around too much. You have this, and then I have a sub plate. This sub plate goes on top here and provides that little notch here. That's the reason why this exists. And the reason for that, well, it's actually very hard to see. It actually is kind of hard to see why. Cable is not flush with the bottom of the charger or the top of it. So that little notch there is to prevent the cable from having some upward movement, which in my testing, the charger won't kind of come out of the hole here. So that was something I had to figure out. And yeah, just this little piece of plastic here to basically make the cable flush did solve that issue. And there's technically one built in here. As you can see, there's a kind of a lip around here because this right here is a slightly smaller diameter than the diameter here. And so that provides the little taper. It doesn't go straight up and down. It has like a little bit of a taper there. I'm a little bit tired today, so words are hard. Like I said, this thing is not the finished product at all. I'll show what the finished product will be looking like, hopefully. But I do want to kind of show off some of the earlier prototypes here. So I wanted to see what kind of weights, how much weight I would need. So I made this thing with these little flaps. I should have made them cups, but I didn't make them cups. I made them flat for some reason. But I just taped stuff to them. In fact, I just taped the plate to them, like so. I used some masking tape on it. But that's what this was. Also, I wanted to see like screw depth and stuff and how much I would have to cut off if I was to make something small. As you can see, I went a little too far on this and I punched right through. Also, this was to kind of see clearance sizes and pilot holes and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and back to this one here, the big square thing. I also figured out some countersinking. Countersink the screws. As you can see, they go in there just fine. Printer is able to print this without supports, so that is definitely a plus. And that's the other kind of design philosophy of a lot of this stuff, is I have to make it so you don't have to print it with supports, because I don't like supports. Supports are my least favorite thing to deal with. Especially the filament I have. The filament I have is kind of hit or miss. So some of it, the supports come off easier than others, but I just would rather have it so I don't need supports at all. So that's why some of this stuff looks a little weird. And yeah, I know I could use magnets for a lot of this stuff, so I wouldn't have to do the countersinking or even need the supports or anything. I know I could use magnets. I don't have magnets, and I like using screws. It's more of a challenge for me anyway. I like to challenge myself on these projects here. They seem simple, but they only seem simple once I've done them. That's kind of the thing. That's kind of what I've noticed. It's much simpler when you're done. We can just reassemble this. I actually am using this right now because I do want to have some kind of weight here. The threads are fine. I've unscrewed this thing over and over and over just because, to make some adjustments here. And it's just like disassembling like anything with screws and plastic, like a Nerf blaster or something. You rotate the screw backwards until it kind of clicks, and then you go in just like that. As you can see, the watch just comes off of this thing just fine. There's a little bit of movement. We can still move it around, but pulling it upwards or off to an angle, it's far less. Right? If I had feet to it, some rubber feet to it, which I could probably put in these countersunk holes here, we would probably have almost no movement. So let's go over to the computer now and take a look at potentially the future. Alrighty, so here we have our screen. Yeah, I'm only showing the screen here so I can point at stuff. So here we have our potential future build here. So this here, instead of it having 3 pieces, it's actually printed 2. This will be printed 2. These are 2 pieces here. So we kind of have our watch area here, and then over here we're going to be having the just a USB-C cable for the phone. And I am thinking about attaching like a phone stand, like an angled phone stand here. Now, I'm not going to get fancy with it just yet, you know, to have like a, so you can just take the phone, for instance, and just kind of plug it in. Where I am just going to have it so you still manually have to remove it and stuff. It just kind of keeps it all together so it's not flopping around. Because right now, my USB-C cable keeps getting stuck in the drawers that are right underneath it. I keep losing it, kind of just losing it and stuff. So that's what we're going to do here, making it all one thing. This is actually, I don't know, I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna probably use the term significant, but it's probably not that significant. It is thinner than this. It will be thinner than this. Simply put, the charger is not actually on top of the plate. Instead, if we go over to our base model here, see we have the plate in the middle between the watch charger and then this little channel here, which is where the USB-C cable is going to go. That way it makes it thinner and kind of centralizes the weight here. Now this channel here is not final because I am thinking about putting a screw somewhere in the middle here, like maybe a 1/4-20 screw, to be able to attach the phone to it, you know, attach the phone stand. Because I could theoretically mold the like phone stand part into the top half, but I'm not gonna bother with that because it still has some relatively weird geometry that needs to be more precise and the supports leave stuff behind. So I'm probably just gonna curve this around here, and then it's gonna come out through the top, which we do have right here, right? So you have the watch, and then that's where the USB-C cable comes out. I might move it a little, shift it over a little bit more as well, but we have to keep in mind we don't want to run into the plate here. This actually had some kind of interesting design choices here. Originally was going to make this top half be completely flush, completely flat and stuff. And then I realized, how am I going to thread the screws into this thing? That's when I realized, that's something I realized, and I was like, okay, so basically what I did was I took the base part here, and I just basically cut it in half. I cut it in half and then added some more material there. I might cut this down even further and make the top half be the thicker part. Simply put, this is not going to have threads in it. The top half is going to be threaded and stuff. And also we have a countersunk holes here so we can countersink the screws so it lays flat, and maybe add some maybe some rubber feet or something. I have to find some rubber feet. I also added some fillets to the edge here, so it looks a little nicer than the you know, big square here. I have found that out, that the more appealing looking objects are more rounded than squares, you know. Yeah, so that's what it looks like for now. You know, maybe I'll change some of these holes here as well, because maybe we'll round these out instead of making them squares, but we'll figure that out. Kind of looks like a cell phone, but it's not a cell phone. I kept making jokes to myself saying, oh, it's a Nintendo Switch, because it looks kind of like one, like the screen in the middle, and then you have the Joy-Cons and stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're working on. Not sure when this project will be done. Maybe next week we'll be doing another update video, but we will see. And yeah, I know I could buy something. That's very similar to this. I'm pretty sure you could even get a chassis, like a weighted chassis, for your watch chargers and stuff. But I think this is more fun. I can make it how I want it to be. Also, I learned a little bit better more about 3D printing and all the ins and outs of my printer and the filaments that I'm going to be using. Yeah, so I think we'll just leave it there. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the rest of this project here.